Ksharam Hrudi Nirantaram Bhasati Swayam Likyate Katam Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Krumamatram Yaham Maham Iti Sakshat Atmarupena Bhati Hrudi Vishamanasa Chinvata Majjata Avana Chalana Rodha Atmanishto Bhavatam Deham Mranmayavat Jadatmakam Aham Buddhirgatasyastyatho Naham Tattata Bhava Shukti Samaye Siddhatma Sadbhava Koham Bhavayuta Kuto Varagya Drishtatmanishtatmana Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shiva Purno Vibhati Swayam Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shiva Purno Vibhati Swayam Namo Ramana. With Bhagavan's immense grace, we have been meditating on the verses of Anma bodham, Atma bodha of Adi Shankara, which was in Sanskrit, is translated by Bhagavan. And while translating, he writes that it is the same Atma which, as Shankara wrote the work in Sanskrit, and in ahatte indra Tamil solvanum annavan andri matra. This day, from within, in Tamil, the same work is being created, narrated by who else other than the oneself. That, as we saw, was interpreted by Kanakamal as that it is Bhagavan who, as Shankara, wrote that in Sanskrit. That way also we can construe, because it is the same self. It is the one self. So we saw all that. we have come to a point where the Nididhyasana part is completed as per some commentators, is spills over into the 41st verse according to some others. This is what I was trying to share last time, that the work is so fluid and so continuous that even the great commentators who have lived a major part of their life in going through these Sanskrit works, they find it difficult to draw a line as to where one segment ends and another segment begins. This 41st verse could be taken as the end of the Nididhyasana, or it can be taken as the beginning of the Jnana Labha. What happens when the Jnana is attained? What is the running commentary that the Acharya is giving as the sadhaka is undergoing this process of Nididhyasana? What is exactly happening within? That is what is captured in these 6 verses, especially 41 through 46. We will try to see 41 through 44. But the theme is, what is that transformation without transformation that happens? Till that we will see in the 4 verses that we are taking up today. So let's go into the verses. Arivan arivo daripaduva bedam Uru paramavil urade Arivinbu Uruvaai onraai durvadanal tan Uruvale tanolirum or. What is it that we have to understand? What is it that Bhagavan wants us to feel or know or learn? Is in one sense a summary of the neti neti and iti iti. What is the summation of Nididhyasana? That is why some of the commentators have classified this verse as the end of Nididhyasana. So, in one sense, this completes the Nididhyasana. What happens at the end of removing the koshas and holding the self or Brahma Bhavana is that Arivan Arivo Daripaduva Bedam Uru Paramaval Uru Paramanmavil Urade. In the Paramatma or in the Samadhi Sthiti that one gets through the Atma Dhyana, in that this triad of knower, knowing and known vanishes. The triad of knower, knowing, known vanishes is the essence that is captured in this verse. This is going to be very useful in going through the next few verses. So we should hold on to this, that this point that even in Samadhi Sthitis, they say there are the one that is lower Samadhi, the one that is higher Samadhi, the lower Samadhi being Savikalpa Samadhi. Bhagavan of course says any one of the 6 types of Samadhis one should hold till the self is realized. But the Savikalpa is, you see the differences are felt, but at the same time, this Purana is also felt. That means this Purana is the Adhara for the differences, is the Samadhi Sthiti with Savikalpa. The Nirvikalpa is where this verse comes in, that the end point of sadhana is that the knower knowledge and known, that division goes in this Paramatma, in the Anubhavam of the Paramatma. And this we have to hold to understand the next few verses. Ariva, Arivodu, Aripaduva, Bedam, Apparamanmavil, Urade. Now, this Arivan, Arivu, Aripaduva, Bedam, what happens in that knower, knowing, known is that with the known, we get Mamakara, we get mind and not mind. The interesting episode where Lakshmi the cow, she comes and these people, those who are in the ashram, serving the ashram, they have grown a beautiful kitchen garden with probably lots of vegetables and suppu, that is the greens and all that they have grown. And Lakshmi Amma, she comes and has a nice feast and goes away, and those people come and complain to Bhagavan that she first of all doesn't get tied down, and then she goes and has that all that we have so with lots of difficulty we have built up. She has come and just eaten them all. And Bhagavan says, to her there is no I and mine. To her it is just food. This is my food, this is not my food. She doesn't have that. Whereas you people, you have that clear idea because you have this clarity that this is me, I know that that is mine. It is onus on you to put the fence. That you put a proper fence so that the one who doesn't have that cannot be blamed. We had a small rat problem in our home. What does the rat know? That it does not know. It can't even see properly. It is in search of the basic needs of life, and certain sensations are given to that. It has entered through some hole and it has gone and eaten up some part of the cushion of the new sofas that have been purchased. But how can we blame that? It is we who have this Ariva, Arivu, Aripaduva, Bedam, and we say this is my sofa. It doesn't know, it is just come in search of food, and its method is it sees whatever is soft. It can't see that it is in a three-dimensional room and there is a lot of space to go. It need not bite its way into the sofa, but it sees that its way out is only through biting through the soft things. And then it was sent out with all ceremony. But then the blame is ours, says Bhagavan. Bhagavan goes to the root that you have to take the responsibility to see that the holes are closed. You can't say that the rat was at fault or Lakshmi Amma was a different story altogether. Probably it is not in fairness to bring both together, but we have to see the responsibility that we have because we have this Vedam and we have this strong sense of mind. It is we who are responsible for guarding what we say as within inverted commas mind. And in the Atmanishta, this is not there. The Arivan, Arivu, Aripaduva Vedam is not there. There is only the Aham Aham. The Purna Atmanishta, in which Bhagavan says, regarding the Jnani state, he says, Tannai Andri Anniyam Undru Maria. Ishvara being a Jnani, because if he is Jnana Data, if he is Mukti Data, he is definitely Jnani. Now the Ishvara, in his eye, he does not have I and another. That is what we saw. And that we also saw that in Ishvara, the entire Srishti is his body. So even if he sees and knows them, the I will be permeating them. That is Savikalpa Samadhi. To have the oneness with the Ishvara's Spurana, but with the identity that whatever I am speaking, whatever is doing, whatever I see, whatever I hear, everything, the natural Spurana is going on. Therefore, all this is only the Spurana. In Abhyasa Kale, that is called as Savikalpa Samadhi. And that also has to be crossed by asking who is hearing, who is seeing, and the I alone is identified with. That is the sthiti referred to here. Ariva, Arivod, Aripaduva Bedam, Uru Paramanmavil Urade. Then what is the Paramanma? Arivu Inbu, Uruvai, Undrai. It is consciousness bliss. It is called, the nature of Ishvara is consciousness bliss, but he doesn't need a cosmos or a body to feel who he is. The Ishvara's I can stand alone, says Bhagavan. The difference between the I, Ishvara's I, and the other thoughts is that the Ishvara's I is capable of standing alone. When it is standing alone, all the Veda, that Arivan, Arivu, Aripaduva, knower, knowledge, and known, that collapses into the I. And that is what Ganapati Muni says in Chatvarimshatu also, that the Jiva, the Para, or the world, and Isha, all the three shine within me as I. That is what he says, that in that I, this difference between seer seeing seen, knower knowing known is gone. And that is Arivu Inbu. That is consciousness bliss. We had seen earlier in another satsang that Bhagavan says the reasoning and thoughts have to subside for the I to rise and be felt. It is a feeling. It is a arivu inbu. It is a feeling and not a reasoning. In that feeling itself, there is fullness. That feeling can stand alone. That I can stand alone. It doesn't need the support of anything. It is arivu inburu. Uruvadana, adu tan uruvale tan uliru. It is self-luminous. So this is the content of the verse. That in the sadhana sthiti, in the ultimate nirvikalpa samadhi, there is no difference as the seer seeing seen, knower knowing known. There is only consciousness bliss. And that consciousness bliss is of what nature? It is not revealed by something else. It is self-luminous. What is the difference? The worldly objects cannot reveal themselves. They have to be seen and their existence recognized by a consciousness apart from them. The chair requires a consciousness apart from it for its existence to be known. But the Arivu, the Atma, does not need another light to reveal it. It is self-luminous. So these are the important understandings we have to gather here, because we are now going on to the next two verses as to what exactly happens in the removal of ignorance. How does the ignorance get removed when you hold the Arivan, Arivu, Aripaduva Bedam Indri, when you hold it with effort only. As Bhagavan says in Upadesha Saram, Bhava Balattinal Bhavanatita Sadbhavakkil. That still the Bhava Bala is used because it is still how that process, the running commentary is going on. The Acharya is giving a running commentary as to how the transformation into the self is taking place. What is the sadhana? The sadhana is described in, the essence is described in 41, because 41 is the end point of Nididhyasana, or the beginning of this segment where Jnana Udayam takes place. What is that? That is only to see that in the self there is no other. There is only the I. What happens when you hold that is what is described. The running commentary continues. Anma bodham araniyil ivvidam. Anma bodham araniyil ivvidam. Anmadhyanam ahamadanam. Tan muyandru சந்ததம் செய்தலா சார்ஞானத்தி மடமை இந்தனம் எல்லாம் எரிக்குமே. Indanam means the wood or the fuel. The ajnana, the vasanas are referred to as the indanam, the fire fuel. And what is the fire that is created? The fire is the fire of tapas. And how is it created? The self-attention, or let us say the self-dhyana. In the Acharya's work, the Atma Dhyana. In Bhagavan's teaching, it is the Abheda Drishti. The directly itself, we hold the eye. In Acharya's teaching, we are allowed that I am not this thought, Aham Brahmasmi. That is, I am not this Neti, but I am this Iti. So there is only Brahma Chintana. There is only Eka Chintana. What happens there? Whenever the Panchakosha thoughts arise, the thoughts regarding Annamaya Kosha, thoughts regarding Pranamaya Kosha, thoughts regarding Manomaya Kosha, thoughts regarding Vijnanamaya Kosha, they arise. Then one should not go after that, but one should eliminate that, because I am not those koshas. Am I those koshas? No, I am not those koshas. Remove that and replace it with holding of Brahma Bhavana, Aham Brahmasmi, or some other verse that is akin to that, where the Atma can be held as a single thought, single bhava. Whereas in Bhagavan's teaching, it is the one is directly holding the I thought. That is the subtle difference, that is all. But definitely, when we let go of the other thoughts and hold the Brahma Bhavana or the who am I, definitely there is Jnana Agni. That is called as Matanam. And the Atma Arani, they say. Atma Arani is, there used to be a process in which the normal light of kitchen, the normal fire from kitchen is not used for the Velvis, the homas. For the homa, there used to be a separate originator of fire, which is called as Aranikkatte. Aranikkatte is a small instrument where two curved surfaces of the wood are opened up, and between those two, another wooden cylinder is kept, and that cylinder is churned so that its side, it hits against the sides of the curved surface, and sparks fly, which are picked up, and the homa is lit. So there is this instrument of cylinder. There is that curved surface of the two wooden pieces which are opened up so that the cylinder can go in and rotate and create friction. In this, some of the commentators say that the basis, the basic log of wood in which that curved surface and covering is there, that is the Brahma Bhavana, and the other is the Ahankara. Some teachings say that the basic is the Ahankara. Keep the Ahankara still and hold the Omkara or Brahma Bhavana as the moving. Doesn't really matter. That leaving the non-self, leaving the known, what was told in the ultimate reality, the test is that the knower knowing known is not there. In Bhagavan's teachings, it becomes easy that whenever the known appears, we should understand we are not doing Atma Chintana because the other is there. So whenever the other is there, one should ask, for whom is this other? Who am I? We come to hold the Atma Chintana. That generates the tapasvic power. If we merely go by the pull of the thought or the attraction to thought we have, then we go with prarabdha. We go with how Ishvara is making us think. But with Guru Anugraha, Bhagavan says in day by day, it comes after Ishvara Upasana for long periods. You do Ishvara Upasana, understand that there is a great power running everything and everybody is run by that power. That Ishvara Upasana goes on for long periods and Ishvara out of Karuna appears as the Guru, says, and teaches Tattvamasi. And that is when this, this tapasvic fire it starts. This Jnana Agni it starts. What does this Jnana Agni of Vichara, what does it do? Of Dhyana, what does it do? It burns away all our vasanas. Because vasanas are all the interest in the non-self, the interest in the other, which is really unreal. Only Atma Swarupa is real. So the appearance of the other and our being attracted to it is the samsara or is the running away with prarabdha karma, let us say, by Guru Krupa, which comes after a lot of worship of God. Guru Krupa allows us to understand that the happiness is not in that thought. The happiness is not in the other, but happiness is within me, as the Paramatma is present within me. And how is the Paramatma present? Paramatma is present as per the previous verse. Paramatma will, the knower, knowing known, the Vedam is not there. So we have to identify with him. We have to let go of the known and turn the knowledge, the knowing, to oneself. So in that Jnana Agni, what happens is that all the vasanas we have, they get burned. Anma bodham araniyil ivvidam. Anma dhyanam aha matanam. Matanam is to churn. This is what Bhagavan also says in Arunachala Ashtakam. Mana manamenum kallil maruvara kadaya nin aruloli memu. How do we get the grace of Arunachala? In the manam ennum kallil maruvara kadaya, without letting, and as Akka would quote from Appalapattu, santatam salippara sandoshamaga, happily. We have to understand that this process is taking us to absolute happiness, uncontaminated with sorrow. So how should the sadhana be? The sadhana should be with that knowledge that this is what our Guru has shown us, and happily engage in Atma Vichara. When a thought comes, should understand what a blessed person I am, that Bhagavan has come and out of great karuna has given me self-enquiry. What more blessing can a jiva ask? Because the best teaching that can be ever got in any of the lokas has already been received. What is the best teaching you can get in any of the lokas? Is that the Paramatma is within your I thought itself. Then the ball is firmly in our court. All we have to do is let go of the non-self and hold the I till that friction erases all the vasanas, which are tendencies toward the other. So the Paramatma rises and shines. That is, the sadhana is given a running commentary here. Anma bodham araniyil ivvidam anmadhyanam ahamadan tan muyendru santatam seidala sar jnanati madamai indanam ellam irikkuve. That Jnana Agni, the Jnana Agni is the tapas. The Guru has told not to follow as soon as a thought arises. So let me draw that Jnana Kitr, the spark, let me draw and take it to the Agni which is there. For whom is this thought? Who am I? That Agni, it burns the affiliation towards thoughts. And Bhagavan says in Who Am I, the mind gets the ability to naturally remain at its source. When the vasanas are burnt, what happens? One is able to naturally remain at its source. The running commentary continues. Let us see the next verse. Arunanale al agaludal pon mun maruvarivalam madamai iriyave pungumam paripurnamagave pungum adittanai po. Arunanale al alagudal. Al, allal, the root is al. Al is darkness. Arunan is dawn. Beautifully, the poet in the Acharya, he makes the subtle difference between the Surya and Arunodayam. Arunodayam is the appearance of light even before the orb of the Surya appears. In the morning, even before the orb of the Surya comes and just radiates its luminousness, before that itself, the Arunodayam happens. The light comes, and even in that light, the darkness is dispelled. The darkness is such a light thing that even before the appearance of the orb itself, that light which has arisen, that itself will drive away the darkness of the night. Similarly, the darkness of ignorance, the darkness of ajnana, the affinity which is made to the objects through the vasanas, they run away, they vanish, even in the sadhana. That is why in the Jnana Bhumikas, Bhagavan, when he is covering the Jnana Bhumikas in the work, the Upadesha Manjari, spiritual instructions, he would say the Jnana Bhumikas are that is Vicharana, before Vicharana, Subhecha. Subhecha is to understand the limited nature of our enjoyments in the objects and begin with the need for freedom, the need for vichara. Then actually implement the vichara. The second Jnana Bhumika is Vicharana. The third Jnana Bhumika is where these shlokas come. Third Jnana Bhumika is Tanumanasi. That is, with the Jnanagni of Vicharana, many of the vasanas are gone. We have discussed that during the course of our discussions, that many of the things, many of the repetitive thoughts we have, by inquiry we drop them. Where is the need to go into that? Where is the need for that thought? Then the mind doesn't go behind it. That is the way, one by one, all the thoughts get to lose their power, and one gets the ability to remain with the self. Now, in this verse, Bhagavan, how he beautifully puts it, the Acharya puts it, is that even the self-realization has not come. The orb of the sun has not arisen yet. But the tapas is going on, and the light of the self is already visible. That's why many of the sadhakas, there is a lady, Pigot, she says that I am able to feel Bhagavan's presence more and more. She actually, the talk is very interesting. She talks about why shouldn't we have non-vegetarian? Why shouldn't we have eggs and other non-vegetarian? Probably the idea being that she having them is having the anubhava of the self. Is getting the experience of the spurana, and Bhagavan says, can you have this experience independent of the sannidhi of the Guru? You are in the sannidhi of the Guru, therefore you are getting. To have it by yourself, all those disciplines are required, are to be observed, because the mind takes the nature of the food consumed. He gives an explanation for that. But then she starts revealing what is Tanumanasi. What is Tanumanasi in Jnana Bhumikas? We saw in the Jnana Bhumika, the first is Subhecha, then Vicharana, then Tanumanasi. That means the vasanas have become so weak that you can feel the Arunodayam. You can feel the light of the self. The spurana itself is felt from time to time. Oh, Bhagavan is saying this only as spurana. He says I should hold. By then that's gone, we are engaged in, and that lady says, the moment I go outside, the current is gone. And Bhagavan says, you should make effort to hold the current. And that is the place where this verse comes in. That is, in the Tanumanasi stage, the realization has not yet happened, but the light of the self has started entering the mind, where the ego has become weak. The ego's proclivities have become weak. The light of God, the light of divinity is able to enter. And what it does, that light, it pushes away our ignorance. So the running commentary goes, wow, how does it start? What is the sadhana? The sadhana is Anyabhavam Mulumayaga Vittu. Leave anything other than the I. Because in the Supreme Self, there is no division as knower, knowing, known. The moment you come to knower, knowing, known, understand that you have got work to do. You have got to generate the Jnanagni. You have to do the churning. How to do that? The Atma is ever waiting. So instead of going the way of the thought, the attention, the jiva, the spark should let go of the rising thought and inquire, for whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? Then the thought that arose becomes quiescent, he says. So the vasana becomes quieter and quieter. The vasana loses its power. If you follow that thought, the underlying ignorance is strengthened. If you let go of that thought, along with that letting go, the reflected, the spurana in the subconscious, which was actually giving the ego the push, that becomes weakened. So let go of the thought and inquire, who am I? In that Jnanagni, the vasanas are getting burnt, was the previous verse. In the Jnana Udayam, in the beginning of the light of the self, our own ignorance, who am I? I am this body, I am this mind, I am this intellect. That ignorance starts fading. That is what is there in this verse. The running commentary of the Acharya of the journey of the Jnana Sadhaka goes on. Arunanal al ahaladal pole. Just like in the Arunanudittanal, Arunagiridhanil, Adagiya Ramanarevarum, we have that Arunodayam is the Udayam of the light, not the orb yet, not the Surya yet, but the light of the Surya, that itself dispels our ignorance. Arunanala le al ahaladal pole. Mun maruvu arivar. Madame, mun maruvu arivar. That Jnana Agni, which comes preceding to the self-luminous self, that itself iriyave pongumam mam paripurnamahave pongum adityanai pol. The madamai iriyave, when the ignorance is removed by the Arunodayam, then what happens? The Surya Udayam becomes natural. That it is not due to your churning. The churning is gone with the Arunodayam. See, the who am I sadhana, we understand we were made to do by the Ishvara Shakti. Then we start waiting there. We don't do the sadhana anymore because there is no push, there is no need for who am I. We just wait at the gate. That Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, to be there, we just wait. Then what happens? As soon as all the Ajnana are removed by that Arunodaya, then that Surya himself, the Surya of Atma Swarupa, it rises and shines. When the ignorance is removed by the preceding light, then no more sadhana is there. You can't do any sadhana when ignorance is not there. Then in all its glory, the self rises and shines self-luminously, is this verse. Iriyave pongumam paripurnamahave. The Atma shines in all its fullness, like the Adityanai pole, like that Surya, which now comes and holds the sway, the preceding light itself having driven away all the darkness. So the Surya is shining self-luminously. Those are the three running commentary verses. We then come to what is the nature of realization. Have we really attained something? Has anything been obtained? Or what has happened? Now, the sadhana that we did, that also went away. Because when the Surya light came, in that light itself, the effort maker is gone. And effort is gone. So it is not due to effort that the sun rose and revealed itself self-luminously. Then what is it? That is answered in the last verse we are taking up. Anma bodham அடைந்துள்ளதே ஆனாலும் தான் மடமையால் அடையாதாய் அமரும் ஆன்ம அடிய எய்த பெற்றால் போல் இலகும் தன் கண்ட அணி எய்த பெற்றார் போலவே. The kantamani, the necklace that you are wearing, the specs that you are wearing, made up, put it off like this, then run around all over the room because you have to urgently read something and respond. But then you are searching all over the place, where is my specs, where is my specs? Then you tell somebody, you are all useless. I keep my specs in a particular place just to clean the things. You remove it and keep it somewhere else. Take everybody to task. The person who is taken, she also runs around everywhere. Then finally looks up and says that the specs is on your head. And says, the specs is there on your head. And then the having lost the specs itself is a brahme, is an illusion. So now having got it, is it a reality? That is as much, because it was never lost. It was there only. The kantamani was always there. Just because you could not feel it, you could not know it, the feeling and knowing were not there, does it mean it was not there? Ignorantia juris non excused, they say. That just because you don't know, the law doesn't become defunct. The law is applicable whether you know it or not. Similarly, whether we know it or feel it or not, the self has not gone anywhere. That's why Bhagavan, we shared in the last exchange also, that when somebody asks Bhagavan, what has happened to you? Bhagavan says, nothing has happened to me. I am as I have ever been. So that is what is communicated in the end of this running commentary. In the seeming end, there are 2 more verses to complete the running commentary. But then it's a beautiful description for us as to what happens within us. That the rising of the light itself of the sadhana, it burns away the darkness of ignorance. And it is not by our effort that the Surya comes, it comes self-luminously. And what is the nature of abiding in that spurana? Is there a thought that I have done all these mistakes, all these things, I was such an ignorant fellow, I was running in the opposite direction, then somebody came, he came as Bhagavan's Duta and he saved me, put me to meditate. How can all these thoughts come? They are all Anya Bhava, isn't it? So those thankfulness and everything is recognized and now burnt up in the Atma Jnana. The final gratitude is to be the self. In one of the morning satsangs, we were discussing about the cat-like bhakti and monkey-like bhakti. And that was, we had brought it up ourselves in the group. And what is this cat-like bhakti? The cat-like bhakti is that we see that the mother cat, when transporting its kids, the kittens are held by the mother cat by the scruff of the neck without any injury and transport. And the monkey mother, it puts the responsibility on the kid, says, you better hold on to the stomach, I will jump from one place to another, but safely take you to our place. So it's only whether the sadhaka has to hold or the guru has to hold. So then we found that why the guru is always holding is that because the guru has this drishti, where the anya bhavam is not there at all. In the guru, the aham iti sakshat atma rupa alone is there. He doesn't have the bhavana that the sishya or the devotee is apart from him. So Bhagavan, whereas the moment we have a feeling that Bhagavan is sitting there or Bhagavan has to bless me, since that Veda Bhavana is there, we necessarily have to be monkey. The kitten is a situation where we understand that we are not apart from, we cannot be apart from Bhagavan. When that is realized, then we may still call ourselves Jiva and disciple and all that. But there the kitten automatically happens because Bhagavan has occupied everything. But so far as we feel Bhagavan is there as an Anya Vastu and I am sitting here as an Anya Vastu, Bhagavan would always insist that we should do this sadhana and hold. There is no escape in saying that the Guru has, he will always say the Guru is doing the needful all the time. What is that needful? Needful is that oneness. The aham. He does not have knower, knowing, known Veda. So he doesn't have to do anything more. Just to have this freedom from the division as knower, knowing, known is your entitlement to be the right Guru, is your entitlement to be the right Sishya. Because the Guru Sishya Bhavana, which comes in the knower, knowing, known, is demolished there. There is only the Atma Spurana. But then, is that state of Surya Udayam? Now Aruna Udayam is gone, it has removed the Ajnana, Surya Udayam is there, this Purana is shining in all its glory. Is this attained? No, says the Acharya. Anma eppodum adayindulade. It is ever attained. There is nothing to attain because the Atma alone really is. Ulla Porul, it is called. Ulladunara, Unarvu Verinmai. உள்ளதுணர்வாகும் உந்திப்பற உணர்வே நாமாயுளம் உந்திப்பற. Even to feel it, to feel the உள்ளப்பொருள், the feeling cannot be apart from the உள்ளப்பொருள். It has to be one with the உள்ளப்பொருள். The bhakta has to join. He cannot say that there is something other than Bhagavan. Since there is nothing other than Bhagavan, he is also that. Tattvamasi is because the Tattvam alone, the Tat alone is there. Therefore, Tvam is also Asi. You are also that. There is no other way because only that Spurana is there. That Akanda Atma Swarupa is there. Where there is no division as knower, knowing, known. So what else can you be? What else can Jnana be? And is this attained? No, by my sadhana I have attained. Can you have a thought? Bhagavan says, there cannot be a thought that I have attained, or there need not be any humility to come and claim outside, Hare Baba, don't mistake me, I have not attained. No, I am not an attained. Why all that? You better, if you have a job to do, better do it inside. There is no need to claim this way, I have attained, or that no, I am really a humble person. I have not, and there is, when job is pending here, there is no need to claim attainment or claim non-attainment, because claiming attainment and non-attainment happens in the division as knower, knowing, known, whereas in the actuality, this division is burned. Even in the Jnanagni Udaya, the Ajnana is burnt. Keep churning in that rising of that sparks. In that fire, your Ajnana is burnt. The Avidya gets removed in the pre-dawn itself, in the Aruna Udayam itself. And then the sun shines, the sun of Jnana, the Swarupa shines in all its glory. Is that which is your identity, true identity, this Purana, is that an attained thing? No, it is ever attained. Siddhamai Ulpurule Terndu Iruttal Siddhi. Now, that is Siddhamai Ulpurul. It is ever attained. You have only dropped the Ajnana. Now, even that thought that I have dropped Ajnana is not there. So, there is only the Purna Mauna. So, to be with the Purna Mauna, beyond the division as knower, knowing, no, that alone is. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us sit in Atma Vichara, the Araniyil Kadaivad, for the few minutes till 8 o'clock. Then we will listen to our President, Aksharaka. Ujjulji, you can set the time till 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. Beautifully, Nandakumar ji has taken us through these 4 verses, which he calls a running commentary on the experience of self-abidance. I say beautifully because normally, if we look at our mind, there is a running commentary about duality. There's nothing else. What is this mind? This mind is constantly, it is saying, you are seeing this is black, this is red, this is green, you are listening to this is what you are hearing, this is what you are, and then it adds, of course, it may add, if it is emotional about it, you don't like the color green you see, but you have to see it. So this is constantly, the mind is not, there is nothing except a running commentary on duality which is happening in our mind. And so the running commentary on the self awareness, on the experience of the self, is a beautiful counter, a beautiful, what we call pratipaksha bhavana. Traditionally it is said, if you're afraid, then try to think of something that gives you courage. If you're sad, try to think of something that gives you joy. Similarly, this is the counter to the running commentary of the mind, is the running commentary on self-awareness. So we have been taken through 4 verses. In the very first verse, we were told that the distinction dissolved and the self is shining of its own accord. This we are told in the very first verse itself, we are told. Then where is the question of further verses? It happens because in the first verse, it is as Nandakumar ji took us through the Jnana Bhumikas. At the very point, first point, when one would have the Atmanubhava, the knowledge would have dawned in that sense. One would know that all these distinctions are mythical. But Bhagavan is asked by Chadwick also, there is a conversation, and Bhagavan points out even earlier in Ramana Gita that it is still the stage of sadhana until self-awareness has become steady. Some people might get carried away. That is the example given by Chadwick of one particular person, one sadhaka, who says that he has the experience, but at the same time, there seems to be return to ignorance. So Bhagavan says that it can be, there is a flash, there is an experience, but unless it is steadied, it will it can become a memory. So, even though it becomes a memory, there is a value to that experience because it makes us understand, oh, all this is mythical. But such an understanding is still with the mind, you see. An understanding is, when we say understanding, it means there is a presence of the mind. So it has to become steady knowledge. That means to say the Hams Purana might be experienced, but it may be intermittent, says Bhagavan. So Bhagavan calls that Abhyasa. In Ramana Gita, he says the experience is the same. In self-enquiry, the experience of jnana and the experience during sadhana is the same. One touches the same point, one touches the same Atmanubhava. But it is ready. So long as it is implemented, it's called sadhana. That's why in the next verse, we are told that such meditation should be continuous. It should be constant. Only when such meditation is constant, then the fire of jnana will be created. So Bhagavan always says that we should be meditating constantly. Santatam Sharipara Santosha Madhave. Santatam. All the time this meditation should happen. And the example is also an interesting example which is given. The example which is given is of two pieces of wood being constantly rubbed against each other, and two pieces of wood. One is the self and one is the ego. That is to show to us, indicate to us that even during this process, which will come, which the answer which is given to us in the fourth verse is indicated over here that even during the process there is really no differentiation. So it begins by saying there is no differentiation. Then it continues to say there has to be a sadhana. But even in the sadhana, there is really no differentiation between the ego and the self. Although the ego is trying to dip into the self, although the ego is trying to hold on to the self, although the ego is trying to inquire into the self, there is really no difference. This gives us an understanding, a glimpse of what comes in the end, that it is Siddhamaya Purul. There's nothing to be really attained. But it appears to be, the sadhana appears to be there, and he says, Nandakumar said, as this, it is only our effort which has to be put in. Dilip would also say that the grace is always there, it is given. So what can be lacking? Why is it that we are not experiencing the truth? It is because we have not made the effort to get back. Something is lacking on our part. So that constant effort is being emphasized, and when that constant effort is there, that the tendencies are burnt away. That we may not be aware of its power. It is, to harm is, Bhagavan says, it is unconscious power. Whatever the experiences, whatever the fruits of the sadhana are, apart from the awareness itself, which one would be, which would have to be there, apart from the awareness of the self. It may be the burning away of tendencies, it may be the other clarities which come. All that will not be something which is conscious. It will just happen very naturally, like the dawning of light. Now, because again, there is this constant move, the constant reminder of the two things. One, that it is by the grace of the self that everything is happening. The light of the dawn happens by the grace of the sun. The sun itself dawns. There is a question, it is said that a disciple asked a Zen master, Master, can I do anything to make self-knowledge happen? And the master said, you can't make anything, you can't do anything to make self-knowledge happen any more than you can do anything to make the sun rise. Then the disciple said, Master, then why should I do any practice? Why should I do any sadhana? Why the need for spiritual practice? And the master said, it is to be awake when the sun rises. You don't fall asleep, you remain attentive. Sun is rising, but you should remain attentive. That is the effort. And often Nandakumar says, the effort is with a light touch. The effort is not, it's not a forceful effort, but that light touch effort, that effort to remain attentive. And he also said, today he told us that At one point, the question murmuring ceases, and there is just alertness to the rising of the self, or the alertness to the presence of the self. In Muruganath Swami verse, very first Deshika Pradikam, he says, Karukadai Gatiyai Karthu Nirpene. I'm waiting. In the Hindi translation, it is said, Dwar Tumare Aakar Guruvar, Prabhu se khada, Pratiksha karta. I'm waiting at your doorstep. I'm just waiting. You just look at me with your glance of grace. Destroy this sense of separateness. And although the self is already there, so now why is the sun not there always? The sun of knowledge is always there. But when our part of the earth is turned away, we don't see the presence of the sun. And then we see the rising of the sun. It is like the recognition. The recognition has to happen. Sri Ji Kameshwar has given a beautiful example of it, quoting from Akhandananda Saraswati in the Ramana way. It is yet to come. So I will not give that example, I will give another example. We have an incident in Bhagavan's life in the Virupaksha cave. When Bhagavan was in Virupaksha cave, he used to be engaged in various activities, including the building of walls. And he was building a mud wall when a new group of visitors came there. And his body was splattered with mud, and probably, I do not know whether he had tied his towel as a small turban, mundas we call it. But they could not recognize that it was Bhagavan Sri Ramana, and they asked him, where is Bhagavan? And he said, yes, he must be somewhere on the hill. And they just got disappointed and went away. And then he then cleaned his body, put vibhuti on his forehead and sat down on the platform. They were disappointed, they were going down. They met H.R. She said, where could he have gone? Come, I will take you and show you the Swami. And then they were very happy to see the Swami. They never even connected this Swami with the Mason. But that kind of recognition did not happen today. But what was it that prevented their experiencing the presence of the Swami? Although they were with him, they were talking to him, they were actually very close, intimately in his presence, but they did not recognize that presence. So the recognition of the presence of the self is the effort that has to be made, and that of course also the grace and the effort go hand in hand. It's very difficult to say how the interaction between grace and effort happens, but the knowledge that it is ever present has a great impact on the sadhana. That's why Bhagavan emphasizes it, and the method which he has given us is the method of self-enquiry. In an inquiry, we do not go from somewhere to somewhere. There is not a distance between the goal and the present position in which we are. There's only lack of knowledge, which is cleared through the inquiry. That's why Bhagavan says inquiry is the direct means. It's not like we have to traverse a long way, but we have to clear the ignorance through the inquiry. And then the sun of knowledge, which is ever shining, is revealed to us. And then Bhagavan has also given an example which says when a small candle is taken into a dark cave, may have been dark for hundreds of years, still it becomes flooded with light. And that is how Bhagavan's grace, the light of the self, floods our lives. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana.
Namo Ramana. Namo Ramana to all.
Namo Ramana.